Let's give time. How's that? We're surviving a week with these guys. That's what we're glad about.
Okay. Let me just start by saying, that this group are amazing. I went into this with a lot of anxiety, and they did an absolutely amazing job. Okay, start at the top. We took 29 people to Colorado, South Fork, Colorado. We drove about 1,500 miles over 7 days, getting up there and back. Okay. We put on VBS for New Hope Baptist Church with about 34 kids in that community. We had 2 different work crews working a combined 330 hours. Painting the pastor's house, put about 5 gallons of stain on his house after scraping it. Painted all the trim. Another crew put up about 200 feet of fence for a family at the church, making sure I have all my numbers right. And had an amazing time. I'd like to take just a minute and thank some of the people that made it possible. What I'd like to do is, as I call your name, if you would stand up. You don't want to stand up? Oh, come on. As I call your name, please stand up, and I will tell a little bit about what it was that you did. Okay? We'll start with Alan Blowers. There he is, Alan. Alan was a project worker and supervisor of the boys, and that took a lot. Brittany Lowry, she's not here. Okay, Brittany was a VBS and worked VBS and supervised the girls, and I'm sure it was easy. Craig Pickrell. He drove our van, he kept the money box, he was a project worker, and he supervised the boys. Mandy Pickrell. Mandy was the VBS music coordinator. She prepared the food and supervised the girls. Thank you. Brenda Jackson. She is probably still asleep. And I have to tell you that Brenda put in probably more effort to this trip than anybody. So she deserves some well-deserved rest. She was our activities coordinator. So we would work in the morning doing VBS or painting or whatever. And then in the afternoon, we would go and see the sights of Colorado. And she was responsible for doing all of that. And she helped with getting all the food together. So while we're all seeing the sights, she's back at the house, cooking and cleaning and organizing and just getting us ready for the next day. Tammy, she did stand up. She was the VBS director. So she was responsible for making sure that everything in VBS while we were there went off without a hitch. Okay. Crew chiefs and project coordinators. Kevin Jones. And Joseph Ricketts. He's in the back. And one thing I didn't put in my notes, Joseph was responsible for making sure that all the boys went to bed on time, that they showered at least once during the week, sometimes with soap, and that they did what they were supposed to be doing while they were at the house. So, thank you, Joseph. I'd also like to thank you, the Lake Sharon Community Church family. Without your support, through financially, through prayers, through encouragement, we couldn't have made this trip. So I want to thank you for giving to us the opportunity to go and helping fund the trip so that we could go, because without that, we wouldn't have been able to make it. So thank you, church family. Okay, you know, they always tell you that you should never give the mic to somebody else, especially a youth. But we're going to do that. We're going to bring up some of the youth for them to share with you about their time and how they saw God moving on the trip. The first two that we have are Riley and Reagan Corson, who aren't here. They're still in Colorado, but we have them on video. And I have to say, I haven't seen the video, so just be forewarned, it should be interesting. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey church family, how's it going? This is me and Reagan weren't able to be there this Sunday whenever the youth is going to be there to talk to you guys. So we just first of all wanted to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be a part of this trip, and it has been such a great experience for us. And we just want to thank you so much for that. So I'm going to go first. I think is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
So last week when we had VBS at our church, I was one of the crew leaders, and it was a great time. I got to spend a lot of time with the kids, and I had an awesome time. And the week before that, we had a meeting about this trip, and they were splitting us into two groups, construction and the VBS group. And I was just praying the whole time that I wouldn't have to go to construction, because I was like, wow, it doesn't seem fun. So I ended up in the construction group. And it actually turned out to be a wonderful experience. And I was actually glad that I ended up in that group. The first day that we were here, my group had been over at the house that we were working on, and we had gone over to meet the other group at the other house, and one of the little girls was at the house that had gone to VBS that morning, and Tom was like, so how'd you like VBS this morning? And the little girl was just like, oh, it was a lot of fun, we got to play games, and we got to learn about God. And when I heard her say that, it was like an 8-year-old girl, someone that I thought wouldn't really understand what we were trying to teach them, could really understand and comprehend a lot more than I thought they could. And it was just such an amazing feeling that I had, knowing that all these kids that they were here working with were actually understanding what it was about. And on the construction part, you know, it was like, it wasn't fun, but I'm just being honest. It was such an amazing feeling knowing that we were able to bless families here in this community with the work that God had provided for us this week. And maybe it wasn't a lot of work, but it was definitely something that this family couldn't get done, and it was a huge blessing to them, and they just couldn't stop thanking us and thanking us. And it was such an awesome experience for me, and it really changed me this week. And so I just want to thank you guys again for the opportunity that I got to go on this trip, and I had a wonderful time, and that's really exciting.
Okay. So obviously I wasn't picked for the construction team. I'm not quite sure why, but I was stuck with the VBS people. Okay, that's where I wanted to be, so that was great anyway. But last week, or the week before when we got to do VBS at our church, I got to follow, kind of be Andrea Campbell's little mimic assistant person so that I could kind of learn from her, because she was doing the Bible study part of the VBS, which is, you know, obviously not always the kids' favorites because you don't get to run around and play cool games or make cool crafts. You get to sit and listen to a teacher. So I got to kind of watch her, which was a huge blessing, by the way, just because she knew what she was doing, she had it down, and she was very good at it. So that was really neat for me, because coming up here knowing that I was going to be in charge of it by myself was kind of scary, even though, you know, I love talking in front of people, but it's kind of scary when you're talking to like 8-year-olds about the death of Jesus. You know, you don't really know how you're going to make them understand that. But it was really neat, and she had everything planned out for me, which was awesome. Thank you for that. So when we got up here, myself and 2 other girls and Dad actually came up a day later, and so we didn't get in until about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Monday morning. So we were not at all prepared, sleep-wise or mentally, for the next day of VBS that we had to start. And so I was really worried about it, and just kind of really praying that just by me being there, that the Lord would use me and take care of everything that needed to be taken care of, and that He would speak through me. And it was actually a really cool experience because as I was teaching them, I had to know the material, obviously. So I got to get up every morning and just kind of go by myself and read the story that I was going to be teaching. And it was just like when you're teaching it to a bunch of kids, you just kind of see it in like a whole new light. Like it's different than whenever I was in VBS and I got to learn these stories. And so, like I got to talk about Jesus dying on the cross, and it was just so cool to see all the kids' faces. Like, you know, first of all, it was like I was learning it as I was teaching it. You know, I was learning it again, and being able to see them, they were just like jaws dropped, like just so amazed at what Jesus had done for us. And it was just really neat to see, like, you know, everybody says to have like the faith like a child does. And it was really cool to see that in action because they were sitting there and they were just amazed at what Jesus had done for us. And then when we talked about Jesus rising from the grave, whatever that word is, they were just so amazed by that. And they were just like, it was so great that Jesus loved us enough to do that for us. And it was so cool just to kind of get like just rejuvenated, I guess, kind of in our faith. And I think the whole crew kind of got to see that as they went with the kids, because these kids were not, you know, just your ordinary kids. They were so excited about everything we did, whether it was, you know, picking little paper fish off a wall or getting to make a cool craft with soap and stuff. They were just really excited about everything, and so that was really neat. But also, aside from the VBS and all of that, we got to, I just got to see everybody's, like, the servant heart that God had put in everybody, and how He specifically put people and things, certain things about people to make this trip mesh perfectly together, and just to see everybody working together and see people serving each other. Like, we obviously weren't all best friends when we came here, but being here to see people serving and to see brother and sister working together just for the group, it was really neat to see. So that was really awesome. But Riley keeps hitting me and telling me to wrap it up. So Bryson and Kyle and whoever speaks, y'all do us proud. We wish we could be there, but we are enjoying the Mason cabin, so thank you so much for that. And thank you, Brenda's family, for opening up their home and the Llewellyn home. That was awesome. And yeah, we just thank you guys for everything, and we can't wait to see y'all again, and we love you.
And we love you. Yeah, we love you.
See ya.
Okay, next. Be seated.
Well, our experience is me and Emma both worked craft and rec, and we kind of switched to the middle. But our experience is the first day we walked in, and honestly, I was scared of the kids. Everyone was sitting there, no one was talking to each other, and then worship starts, and every kid's just interacting, everyone's doing the motions, everyone's just so happy, and a couple of the girls and guys there were touching my heart. They were just a blessing to me and Emma about every story that they told us. They introduced us to their parents. They did everything that they could to make us feel loved and to make us feel like we were actually a part and we were there for a reason. And I don't know how Emma feels about this, but I felt like God has already called me back to Colorado, and that He wants me to go back again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. And I'm excited for whatever we do next.
Next is Bryson.
I'm Bryson. I was part of the work crew, and I worked with Kevin and Chad at the fence. We built a fence for the Goldings, Dick and Lori, and oh my gosh, they were just the sweetest people. They have a heart, they were believers, and I knew it right when I met them. We started building the fence, me and Chad, and it was a bit rocky because on the mountains. We had to dig about 45 to 50 2-foot post hole, and we built the fence, and then we stained it, and we got 6:15 every morning, and we went to the work site, and it was about 50 degrees every morning, and then it would get to about 75. So it was a bit of a temperature change. Lori and mainly Lori, they made us cinnamon rolls every morning. They were the best cinnamon rolls. I mean, they're not like Texas cinnamon rolls, I guess you could say. That's what kept me going in the morning because of that sugar. Oh. And, oh gosh, okay, they were going to build a deck and for their house, because, I mean, their house is kind of plain, it's just like a little rectangle, whatever house, in the mountains. And when we got there, I was like, okay, they had no yard, they had no grass, they just put up the trees. And Dick, he has a very bad back. He can't do much, he's very limited with his working. So that's how we got to help him, because he couldn't do much, and Lori as the wife, and they're older, they can't do much, so that's where we're there. But every morning when I got there, Lori would be, hey guys, and you know, just the happiest woman ever. She even said, she's like, you're like a grandson, Bryson. And she's like, she said it over and over. I mean, Kevin and Chad, she said, you can't thank me, or I can't thank you enough. You have been the biggest blessing, I mean, ever. I mean, so that, right when she said that, I mean, it's just one of those moments where you feel like God has done something that you can't even describe, like how amazing it is. And right now, I think I'm probably the closest to God I've ever been. After this trip, I mean, it's been amazing. And on Friday night, when we saw all the VBS kids, this is the first time since I wasn't at the VBS, I was at the work site. It was the first time I got to see the kids, and when they were all singing, I mean, they were singing their hearts out. I mean, they were there to worship God, and they meant it. And it was just one of those moments where, I mean, it's emotional. I mean, it's amazing what God can do to young kids like that. Thank you.
My name's Cody. This week, God brought me to serve, and when every adult asked us to do something, I did it, and when they didn't tell us to do anything, and when there's something we need to do or pick up, I did it, and all my friends over here, they did it too, and God brought me to serve, and everyone they just reached out to me and told me to serve, and God told me to. So.
I'm Grant, and this past week I was a crew leader with the VBS, and it was just amazing to see how excited they were to be there and to just praise God and have fun, and it was just great to know that we were sharing the love of God with them and that we were helping them come to know Christ, and that hopefully someday they look to serve God and show the love of Christ to others. Thank you.
All right, so I was one of the crew chiefs and the one in charge of getting everybody bathed at night. Which is payback because I was, not too long ago, a youth, and I put quite a few chaperones through quite a bit of grief. So it all comes back in the end. Keep that in mind, guys. But seriously, we could have asked for a better crew of kids. I mean, everybody jumped before we even said jump. Everybody went out wholehearted through the whole week, no matter what we were doing. Whether it was VBS, whether it was me being a slave driver on the work site. I mean, every kid jumped. And it's not just, I mean, we have a big gap here because we've got Chad and Ashley and Riley and Bryson and Seth, who are all older high school. We got one or two middle, kind of like right there in the middle of 9th grade. And then we've got a whole bunch of little bitty babies in middle school. But the thing is, it was awesome to watch because the older kids watched after the little ones, and vice versa, the little ones turned around and held the older ones accountable. And to watch everybody interact throughout the week was absolutely amazing because no matter what was going on, everybody did everything wholeheartedly to serve God. And that's really what made this trip completely worth it. And I don't know how involved everybody, this is for the adults at this point. These kids, each of them individually, are completely amazing. And each of them have a complete heart for God. And the parents, I mean, I want to give you a round of applause for, I mean, y'all have raised them in a way to wholeheartedly serve God. and that's amazing to watch. I obviously don't have kids, and nowhere near that stage, but to see these kids, it encouraged me to one day, I mean, it's amazing. I can't praise them enough for the things they did all week. So if we could, let's just give them a round of applause.
All right, this is a little participation this morning. Everybody's breathing, right? Okay. I need you to breathe a little longer, a little harder. Can y'all do that? Well, all the mission trips I've been on in the past, usually down toward the valley of Mexico, and it was pretty much VBS and then work, where you work all day long. So for 8 hours or so, and they had a schedule. This is the first time this youth group has gone anywhere to this extreme, right? Week long or anything like that. So Joe and I were talking about this at the beginning of the week. We're going to go over saying, we want to work all day long to get these projects knocked out, because we only did 2 on the list. We had about 5 projects that we could have done on the list. So about noontime, it was time to go eat lunch. The church serves lunch every day at the church, which was awesome. And we get there, and then Brenda, she scheduled activity after activity. We saw every mountainside that you could see up there this week. So about the second day, first day we worked as a crew together on the pastor's house. Great family. I don't know if you're going to say anything about the pastor in a minute, but totally appreciative. So the whole 10 of us, the guys, the men, and the 40 youth that were with us, hit it hard. The second day we started digging post holes at the second house. So the second day in the afternoon, I was kind of thankful that we weren't working all day long. And then they took us to the top of the mountain, and part of the crew went and looked at some other things, and me and Tom and Joe and Chad and Riley decided to take the extra 1.5-mile trek to this upper lake. And I'm in the back going, I'm getting there, just wait. They didn't know I was back there thinking that, but that's exactly what I was thinking on the way up there. It was a great week. Let me say a couple things about what I saw. The youth, y'all are incredible. Y'all done an amazing thing this week to serve. I was not involved much with the VBS other than the last night, but as you've already heard testimony, brought tears to my eyes. I saw the youth, our whole youth was kind of surrounding the area. A lot of the older youth were in the back. Younger youth were up mixed with their youth, and the children singing all the songs that they learned in VBS. And they were going at it. It was just amazing. And I don't know if we got part of that video clip there in a minute, but it was great to see the parents. I was watching the parents in the room, and just the smiles and some of the tears as the parents watched their kids. They were just performing in front of the chairs. It was kind of the size room without the stage here. And they were just singing their hearts out. And they were having a blast. Had a few speakers along the way that the team had orchestrated. But they only had a few of the youth as co-leaders within the VBS. So this team pretty much served them in terms of the VBS team, the leaders. So I've seen all the younger ones get up and serve and do things, as Cody and others were talking about. I saw them serving when we asked them to do something in the cabins. I don't know about the girls' cabin, but the guys' cabin. By the way, we stayed in a barn. Yeah. None of y'all ever want to stay in the barn because we'll take your spot, because it was kind of like a luxury barn. full kitchen, shower, just one, and tons of rooms. And it was a blessing that the Llewellyns that we stayed with, they have had groups come in like that. And that's part of the reason they built the structure that they did. It was a great facility. The last night we were there, the VBS program was running, and One of the last things I did, I got to speak with Christy, which is their youth children's director. And she gave a great compliment to our older youth, college age. She was talking about how the kids all served everything. And she said, you know what's really neat is I see you have some college age and young adults that have helped solidify the leadership and help rally the kids around. They don't really have much of that. Usually when their college age kids grow, they go away to college or something, they don't typically come back. So she said, what a blessing that we have. And the older youth and the college age that are hanging around, and that I've seen that over the past 18 months. That they really just stepped in and challenged some of the youth and encouraged them, prayed for them, been a mentor to them. So as a church, that's one of the blessings that we have. And just to acknowledge that I appreciate that even from my younger ones in the youth group. We appreciate what you're doing in terms of giving your input and staying in there. I had a couple things. A couple things about the work projects. We did paint the pastor's house. I was there Monday, didn't get back till Friday. Awesome job. I hope you can see some of it. Both of our work crews worked at sites where the men of the home, the pastor had back surgery about 4 months ago. So he taught us something, no BLTs. In therapy terms, no bending, lifting or turning, right? And so he couldn't do any of that. And so to be able to come in and to help him with that kind of work project was a major blessing to him. And Joe and everybody that worked over there did an amazing job. The Goldings, Dick and Lori, he's got a whole lot of things going on, arthritis and bad back problems. Got laid off about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, because of some of the complications with that and some of the economy issues. They moved closer to their son, but they had some things that they just couldn't do. They didn't think that they were going to get the fence done anytime soon. So it was a major blessing. And like they've said, every other phrase was how appreciative that it was that we were able to accomplish that. We didn't know we were going to stain it until the last board was on the last day. And so we had a few that came from the other house that helped us finish staining it, and we just barely finished with the stain that they had purchased. So it was incredible. It was a good experience. I've been on a lot of different mission trips as youth and a couple as adults. I've seen a lot of great things happen this week, Tom. A lot of great things. Growing pains, we're going to have to figure a few things out as we go, but that's good. It's been a blessing that the church has been able to send us in, and the community that we went in has been greatly appreciative of what we've been able to do just in that 1 year. The pastor there is kind of a mission-minded pastor. He is from where? Right. So he grew up in Africa, and he has a unique testimony of how he got to the U.S. in the place where he is at. They've been there for about 4.5, 5 years, something like that. But definitely could resonate with the missions mindset that we have. And it's exciting to see you as a church help provide an outlet for the different ministry experiences that our youth are starting to have. And I'm excited about the future for what we have. Thank you.
One more. My wife, Tammy. And I don't know if she knows it or not, but we have a video from VBS. No, I hadn't seen it, so I couldn't tell you. Can you go ahead and play the video?
You they could have frozen that, I could have told you every single one of those children's names. I haven't got to see anybody since I even did VBS here. So I've done 2 weeks straight. It's been absolutely so exciting and so phenomenal. And first of all these right here, they worked so hard both weeks because they worked here. Then they went in and did it again the second time leading. Those kids that you saw up there they get excited over the least little thing. Some of them don't have TVs in their house. I don't know what all y'all know about VBS, but if you put soap in a microwave, it turns into a cloud. Okay, those kids, their eyes were like this big. And just making a paper airplane, we put them in bubbles in a swimming pool, and they pull the hula hoop up over them. And one of the little girls was there. She is a little person, and so they were so excited though, because she's only this big and she's Avery, but they could put the bubble all the way over her head. So for that, just every little thing. And then the biggest blessing of all was Friday morning. On Thursday, Donnie had given the salvation plan, and when they went to Bible study with Reagan had reinforced it. And I had a mom come up to me, and she said, I'm going to cry. She said, Owen came to me last night, and he is so excited that Jesus died for him. And he told me he wants Jesus in his heart. And I said, well, did you pray with him? And she said, no, I left that for y'all. So I went to Donnie, and I said, Donnie, do you want me to do it? How do you want it? He said, Tammy, you go ahead. So I got to if we had the script, I could show you who he was. His name is Owen. And we went into sanctuary together and got on our knees. And he is so quiet and so shy. And I would only get like one-word answers out of him. And I would ask him, what do you, I'm just going to yes, no. But it was absolutely the best thing. And overall, we did get invited to go back next year. So y'all get ready.
From my perspective, I think Kevin said, this was our first trip, our first anything as a youth group, and there was a lot of anxiety on my part going into it. Breaks their arm or gets sick, and we spend the whole week in the emergency room, whatever, and it was none of that. And I was telling the youth earlier today in our Sunday school time that it was about Tuesday that I realized God just spoke to me and said, I love these kids more than you. So don't you think I can take care of them? And it occurred to me that this trip isn't about having a great outing. It's not about having a lot of fun, seeing lots of cool things, painting houses, building fences, or any of that. It's about showing the love of God with those around us. God put us in Southward Colorado for a specific reason. And we know with Owen, but we don't know what other seeds were planted. We don't know what other things God is doing to orchestrate the lives of those that we and like Joe and Kevin said, the families that we work for, we're so grateful. Every time I saw either one of them, they would just thank you for coming and helping us. Because you've done things that we couldn't do on our own. And that was a huge blessing. And just seeing God working in the lives of all these kids was a big blessing for me. We spent the week, each night we would have a Bible study. We were studying through the book of Ruth. And in that book, it's about a lady that gets married and her husband dies, and then she moves to Bethlehem with her mother-in-law. And it's just full of pictures of how we as Christians should be served. And so you may have heard that in some of the things that the kids were saying about how they were able to serve and to be served. And I want to thank all the adult leaders for being there to show them, to model what it looks like to be a servant. And we had a great time. I want to thank you, youth, thank you, leaders, thank you, church family, for allowing us to go and be that salt and light here.